What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we are checking out the brand new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, this is, of course, Samsung's most feature-packed flagship smartphone, with the best camera, the most powerful specs, the S Pen, and a whole lot more. It's also Samsung's most expensive device, and this year, it's actually even pricier. But Samsung has brought a lot of new stuff to this phone, including a refreshed design with all new materials and a whole bunch of new AI features that are quite useful, which I feel like is a pleasant surprise given the fact that companies are sort of slapping that AI nomenclature on just about everything these days. There's really a lot to talk about with this new S24 Ultra, and I'll fill you in on everything you need to know here. But before we get into all that, let's just quickly unbox it, and I'll also go over the pricing, the colors, and the best places to buy the new S24s so you can get yourself a good deal if you're interested. Peeling off the stickers and sliding off the lid, the first thing you get is the phone itself. Now, mine is in the titanium gray color, which is sort of that raw metal finish. You can also get the phone in black, yellow, and violet in stores, or green, blue, and orange online exclusively from Samsung.com. Now, there's actually nothing else inside the bottom of the box, but be sure to double check the lid because there is a cardboard insert stuck in there with a few more things. Samsung still includes a USB-C cable for charging the phone and a small packet of instructions and information. And the last little accessory is just a tiny SIM ejector tool fastened to that cardboard insert. With all that stuff out of the way, here is the new S24 Ultra once again. And I want to just quickly talk about the price of this phone. The S24 Ultra this year starts at $1,300 for the 256GB model. That's $100 more expensive than last year. And if you want more storage, the 512GB configuration is a little over $1,400, and the 1TB model is well over $1,600. This is one of the most expensive sort of traditional or non-foldable smartphones on the market, but Samsung's pre-order deals saw the double the storage on us promotion again this year, where you got the 512GB model for the price of the 256GB phone. And actually, on Amazon right now, not only is the phone itself still discounted, but you get a $200 Amazon gift card with your purchase, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure how long that deal will last, but I'll leave some links down below in the video description to where you can get this phone at its cheapest current price. So at a glance, the S24 Ultra no doubt retains a lot of the physical design traits we've seen from the last couple Ultra smartphones, but Samsung did some minor changes here and there that I think will make some people happy. It once again has a massive 6.8-inch display corner to corner, but this time the bezels, or those black borders framing the display, are completely even. You get about an 88.5% screen to body ratio, which if you're taking notes is technically lower than last year, but that's because this year Samsung ditched the curved edge, so this phone is now totally flat all the way around. That is something I know a lot of people will appreciate. And it's actually something I noticed right away when I held this phone in my hand. I think the flatter sides are overall just a bit more comfortable, and the screen itself doesn't end up having any wasted space or unnecessary distortion with the curved glass. Speaking of glass, both the front display glass and rear cover glass are an all-new material, Corning's Gorilla Glass Armor. This is the first and only phone right now that I know of to sport this new glass, and not only is it the toughest and most scratch-resistant material developed by Corning so far, it's also supposed to be the most optically optimized as well, with less glare and attracting fewer fingerprints. I hope I don't accidentally test out its strength or durability anytime soon, but I can already tell it's a much less reflective looking glass. Samsung also brought a new material for the housing and frame of the S24 Ultra. It's titanium, of course. This titanium gray color option is, I guess, the most raw or natural looking finish, and the actual titanium itself, keep in mind, is just the sides and edges of the phone. The frosted matte glass rear cover is just there to match. This color, by the way, is less yellowy in person than it looks on camera here, and if you're curious about how this titanium looks compared to the other titanium phone, well, there you go. Slightly different, I suppose. Samsung's is a bit more sparkly or shiny or reflective, I guess, and actually attracts less smudges and fingerprints compared to the iPhone as well. The titanium housing technically makes the S24 Ultra a tiny bit lighter weight-wise, but it's not really enough for you to notice. This is just a big, tall, beefy phone all the way around, and a bit of a challenge to use one-handed like always. And I should also mention the titanium is exclusive to the Ultra this year. The regular S24 and S24 Plus are still constructed from aluminum. Taking a look around at everything else, there's nothing on the left side of the phone. On the right, familiar power and volume buttons alongside a 5G antenna, a couple of microphone holes at the top, and on the bottom, your USB-C port, speaker, S Pen, of course, and the SIM card tray. Samsung is an agent of chaos, it seems. They put a pin-sized microphone hole right next to the SIM ejector button hole, so make sure you poke the right one for the SIM card tray to pop out. There's no expandable storage on this phone, unfortunately, so make sure you opt for more storage than maybe you think you'll need. Almost 20 gigabytes of storage is taken up right off the bat by Android and some of the pre-installed apps. There's the center hole punch selfie camera front and center below the earpiece and secondary speaker, an upgraded quad lens camera setup around back that I'll talk more about shortly, and an in-display fingerprint sensor for getting into the phone, which I don't believe has changed in any way, but feels very quick and accurate. Now, in addition to the new, stronger, and less glare-prone front glass, the display itself on the S24 Ultra has been improved slightly. The 6.8-inch screen is still a Quad HD Plus resolution 1440p panel, which, yes, you still have to enable yourself via settings. The default is 1080p, but when you do, you'll be looking at some 505 pixels per inch. Well, you won't see any of those pixels. This is one of the biggest and sharpest displays you can buy, but you get the point. Paired with that crispy resolution is a 120Hz dynamic refresh rate, which is also something you can enable or disable if you want to save some battery. But of course, that gets you the silky smooth visuals and ultra responsive taps and touches. And the display is also a new LTPO AMOLED 2X panel, which not only delivers bright, bold colors and deep dark blacks for just the ultimate viewing experience, but it's also a much brighter display this year, with up to 2600 nits of peak brightness. That is incredibly bright, almost 1000 nits higher than last year, and quite a bit brighter than even the likes of the iPhone 15 Pro. Coupled with the new Gorilla Glass, this is probably the best viewing experience on a smartphone right now. And actually, after playing around with this phone for a little while now, I'm surprised at just how much I notice how much better the display really is. Especially here in Las Vegas, where during the summertime, it's bright outside, there's usually a ton of glare. I think this phone is going to be one of the best visually for those sorts of situations. But it's also just a great phone for all your casual YouTube watching and Netflix binging too. When it comes to the out loud speaker setup, there's the one bottom speaker there and the secondary one hidden in the earpiece up at the top, and I'm not aware of any specific changes to the hardware, but to me the speakers sound extra loud this year. Here's a quick sound sample so you can get an idea for yourself. Of course, one of the most unique features with Samsung's Ultra smartphones is its built-in S Pen. And it's more or less the same this year as far as the hardware, the actual stylus itself, and the corresponding apps and features that go with it. The S Pen is stored in its little compartment at the bottom left corner of the phone. Its top clicks and pops out so you can easily grab it. I'm not aware of any physical changes to the S Pen itself. It has that very precise pointy tip, the physical button, the AR gesture controls, and a handful of writing and drawing focused apps with a customizable shortcut menu that presents itself when you pop the pen out. On the one hand, this is the only flagship phone on the market with stylus support. It's one of the only phones at all with stylus support. And given how big the S24 Ultra is and how good the writing and drawing experience is as well, it really does unlock a lot of additional use cases. But it's odd to me that Samsung hasn't really changed or otherwise highlighted the S Pen for a couple of years now. So it's great that it's still here, but it's a little disappointing to say the least, that it's the same sort of experience we've had for quite a while, and there doesn't seem to be anything new or noteworthy. Now, with that being said, Samsung has been highlighting the new AI features on its S24 smartphones that aren't directly S Pen related. All these AI features are on the regular S24s, of course, but the S Pen on this phone sort of aids in demonstrating a couple of those new abilities. So AI is this sort of standout feature on all the S24s this year, and essentially Samsung partnered with Google to achieve things like Live Translate, where you can translate text messages and even phone calls in real time between different languages. There's Chat Assist and Notes formatting, where you'll get suggestions and edits for all of your typed text. Generative editing in photos, a nearly Photoshop-like experience where you can edit objects, move people around, fill in the background, and a whole lot more. And probably my favorite AI feature, Circle to Search, a combination of like reverse image search and Google Lens on steroids, where you can circle or select anything from any app or anything on screen and get more information about whatever it is you're looking at. To me, these AI features are genuinely useful. They improve the day-to-day function of the phone and unlock new features. It's not some chat bot or virtual assistant you have to train, and I'm excited to use these AI features in the coming weeks to see just how useful they become for me. Like I said, I've already been thoroughly enjoying Circle to Search especially, and I think that's going to be something most everyone uses probably every single day. Powering all those new AI features and everything else on this phone is a new, more powerful Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset, an Adreno 750 GPU, paired to 12 gigabytes of RAM. You might remember in years past that the base model Ultra had 8 gigabytes of RAM, but this year 12 gigs is both the default and max amount, regardless of the storage option you choose. Here are the Geekbench scores for those of you who like to compare numbers. Now, generally speaking, this is one of the most spec'd out Android devices on the market when it comes to performance, and Samsung actually spent a good deal of time talking about the improved efficiency and cooling capabilities of the processor inside this phone as well. It's no doubt doing a lot, especially with those new AI features. And in day-to-day usage, I'm sure this is about the fastest phone you can possibly ask for. But I actually think the bigger value here is Samsung's new pledge to offer 7 years of software updates for the S24 line. That makes this phone an incredible investment, something that will feel new or at least current on the software side of things until 2031. I think people are generally keeping their phones a lot longer nowadays anyway, but this extends that even further. And if you've been holding off on buying a new Samsung device for the last couple of years, that actually might be reason enough to upgrade. You know you'll keep this phone for maybe twice as long as any other device you've already used. When it comes to battery and charging, the S24 Ultra has the same size 5,000 milliamp battery as the last few Ultra smartphones, and Samsung didn't really mention any improved charging speeds or add any other new power features. You get 45-watt wired fast charging with the appropriate cable and wall plug, 15-watt wireless charging, 4.5-watt reverse wireless charging, and a myriad of battery optimization features and low power modes to extend the life of your device throughout the day based on your needs. And I'll of course be putting this phone's longevity to the test in my full review. Finally, as is the case, well, every year, Samsung has once again improved the camera setup on the S24 Ultra. And with this, it's sort of a multi-layer upgrade. The hardware around back actually isn't that different. You get that crazy 200 megapixel main lens, but the telephoto periscope lens is a new and improved 50 megapixel shooter. There's an additional 10 megapixel telephoto lens and the 12 megapixel ultra wide shooter. The selfie camera, I believe, is the same 12 megapixel lens once again, and inside the camera app, there's really nothing here that's new feature-wise. The two big things really are a better, more improved zoom function and an AI assist for better processing and editing. The zoom capabilities on this phone are really, really good. Samsung has always had their super zoom capabilities, but this year, the zoom is super steady and smooth, and with the help of AI, it's also a lot clearer, even well beyond the optical zoom limits. I tested this phone out at a recent basketball game where I sat all the way in the nosebleed seats, and I literally had a better view of the players than I would on TV when I used the zoom on this phone. The AI, like I said, also helps a lot here. It improves the image processing, preserves detail, unlocks new capabilities like taking a full-speed video and transforming it into slow-mo, and of course, all those image editing abilities as well that I already mentioned. I have no doubt that this phone rocks one of, if not the best overall camera setup on any smartphone, and the handful of pictures I've already taken really indicate that to me. Overall, the S24 Ultra feels like an iterative upgrade over last year, but there's a lot more here than meets the eye. The phone itself was redesigned, and it's made up of all new materials all the way around. The screen is brighter, it's faster and more powerful with actual AI features that improve day-to-day use, and the cameras have been refined in a way that makes them a lot more practical and a lot less gimmicky. To me, this is the phone that people have likely been waiting for the last couple of years. But what do you guys think about the new S24 Ultra? Is this a phone you'll be upgrading to this year? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.